situation. Cal is up 1-0 over Santa Barbara at the moment. Santa Barbara's going to stick with Warrior in this situation. And Cal, they're going with Paladin, which has been one of the tried and true decks all season long.
Yeah, today it's been up and down, I suppose. A lot of schools have brought it, and I feel like we've seen so much Paladin today in all the games, just because its win-loss has been pretty up and down. A lot of teams brought it, so and now mid-range Paladin, it looks to be for Cal Berkeley, and with the Iron Beak Owl and that Sludge Belcher, could be Secret Paladin still. These are all cards that can be run in Secret Paladin. Only time will tell. I
kind of feel similar to the Aggro Druid. People are just respecting Paladin so much because it's so powerful, but they're just kind of coming prepared for it. All the decks feel like they have a way to take on this style of deck at every single step of the way, and rightfully so. If you don't check it, it's just going to run you over.
Yeah, I mean, some of these decks are so powerful, they define the metagame itself.
2 True Silver Champions in the opener for Cal, and that's not what they wanted to see. The Shielded Minibot, of course, always a welcome sight, but I mean, it is 16 points damage at the end of the day, but where's that going to get pointed? Are you just going to start doming them?
Hang on. We've got the top of the deck. I can always bring the right answer to the right time. I anticipate a muster for battle being drawn.
What about a second Shielded Minibot, Frodan?
Second Minibot is also just as good.
This is a very good hand all of a sudden.
Oh, you need something to finish off that curve, you know? Muster for battle, like Dan said, would round this off quite nicely.
They got 2 draws for it now.
Oh, yeah.
Sure thing.
That's my favorite part of the deck, the top
2 cards.
And just like we were talking about the Patron Warrior facing off against Mid-Range Hunter, that concept applies to almost anything with Patron Warrior. If the mid-range deck curves out really aggressively, usually they top out just fast enough to kill you that you can't really respond to it. And mid-range Paladin's the same exact way. You get opportunities with Quartermaster that maybe give you really big potency at the finish, or even just hitting some mid-sized minions that are very reasonable.
Wow, Cal's going to hang on to their coin and not go for Shielded Minibot on turn 1. This is really interesting.
I think that they just really want to use coin to smoothen out the rest of the curve. I think not having a turn 3 play.
To do with Acolyte, maybe.
If they just would have believed, they would have gotten Minibot, Muster for battle.
If you believe, you can achieve.
It's what I said. I said I think Muster for battle will be drawn.
Yeah. Wow, this is
very dominant board. But you know what keeping the coin gives an advantage for if it draws Quartermaster.
Yeah.
Because now you can muster for battle and then coin Quartermaster, and that is shutout against Patron unless they have like the perfect mix of removal right there and then.
Yeah. The one thing you do give them with this slower start though is you do give them a little bit extra time. You know, Acolyte of Pain looks great in this position. They have Deathspite to follow it up. Battle Rage is sitting in hand along with the Whirlwind. They're going to have plenty of stuff to make sure they keep this board under control.
Yeah, and you know, if you're UC Berkeley here, you're looking at an Acolyte if they play it down on this turn. Maybe you just forego the Muster for Battle because all of a sudden Whirlwind punishes you heavily. You give them a card, they clear out your Muster for Battle in total. Might just coin out the True Silver like they had originally planned to. Maybe even specifically to deal with the Acolyte of Pain if it wasn't to smooth out their curve. Only give it 1 draw, that is.
Yeah, I think that's what you want to do. They pass.
Wow, really interesting. They want to ensure more draws off that Acolyte. Potentially, though, is this a respect maybe to Divine Favor in this spot? Is that a card that maybe is on their mind, like giving up too many draws and then having to face that?
Well, they're not sure what kind of Paladin it is, and even if it's Divine Favor, they're opposing Paladins holding too many cards for them to be a concern right now.
That's right. They also have the coin, too, so you're looking at coin. Blessing of Kings, coin True Silver Champion, both of those could answer the Acolyte right away.
Yes.
And maybe they just want more draws overall. I mean, they're playing for the long game right now.
Yeah.
It is really concerning to Muster for Battle and the Acolyte Whirlwind just completely shuts it down. We know that probably the best play in response to this would be to play second Minibot, but it's not so obvious. It's very hard to make this call when you see that the curve is aligning to making sure that you follow Muster for Battle, which is the best turn 3 play.
Yep. They're going to go for Muster for Battle, and this is likely to get shut down. I think that Santa Barbara is going to have to respect coin Quartermaster here. I mean, that would just shut the game off. And now they pick up the second Whirlwind. I don't think it's really that big of a cost to them. I think they just feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, they could like have waited a turn, Dustbite now, wait for the activation, but like you said, Coin Quartermaster, way too big of a threat. Even though they don't know what kind of Paladin this is, they haven't seen a secret yet. So
they didn't see Coin either, so I mean, it's likely your opponent's playing a slower version, I think, in that situation.
Yeah.
However,
bad.
One thing to note is that it is Justicar Trueheart being held by Cal here, and that's like the only minion that's like reasonable mid-range threat, meaning that Patron Moore is going to get a lot of time because they have so many Whirlwind effects. They have Unstable Pool, they have Whirlwind itself, they have Deathbite. And every 1/1 you spawn is going to be Patron.
Yeah, I mean, if they find a stable position to get a big Grim Patron turn, it could very easily be shut out.
Quartermaster is going to be kind of necessary as the game progresses to try and close it out, I think.
Certainly. So then back on Santa Barbara side, another key card that's been enabling all this is Deathbite. People argue that it's probably the most valuable card in the deck, aside from Patron itself.
It's one of the strongest cards in the game.
It is, indeed.
Indubitably.
Indubitably, my good sir. If you end up playing Loatheb here on curve, I think it just dies too easily on board, so maybe you take this turn to develop the Deathbite. And then you have the opportunity to develop Shredder the next turn while mixing in some other stuff too.
And you also know that it's going to contest pretty much all the turn 5/turn 6 plays that Paladin can do. Sludge Belcher, Sylvanas. I mean, Justicar Trueheart, yeah, but that's not usually something you're thinking about as a turn 6 play.
I think the good thing I like about Deathbite too is that it sets up in case you do draw Patron. I think every turn from now, you can play Patron because you have enough mana. Therefore, you have to be considering what happens if I draw Patron next. Is that the turn that I want to be able to activate stuff and do cool things with? And he has a Whirlwind already, so for 6 mana, he can go for the 4 Patrons.
It's a tough choice either way. I mean, I could even find merits behind the Piloted Shredder. I think the Piloted Shredder's totally fine too. You don't really have to overcommit your resources right now. You're at 30, your opponent's not applying a lot of pressure. Given the pace of the game, you probably expect them to be a little bit slower of a build. You do need to conserve resources a little bit.
You did use your second Whirlwind. That's very liberal use of it to kill just basically a 2/1 and a 1/1. Divine Shield really didn't matter there.
Maybe they're afraid of what this Paladin could be. Maybe they don't know for sure that it's mid-range Paladin yet.
Oh, you're right. They're aware of the coin being held, and maybe they think
it's a serious
Challenger turn.
Yeah. It's also a possibility. So clearing off minions has a lot of merit when Mysterious Challenger's coming up.
It's a fantastic point, TJ. Well, in this scenario, there's not too much merit for coining out a hero power unless you want to answer a 5 health minion, which just so happens to be in the hand of the Patron Warrior player.
I always find it when players think about these little situations like this, and they go, nah, it's not worth it.
And
like the situation where it would be worth it comes up.
Right. That's the whole point, right? And even if it wasn't Loatheb, it's also Belcher.
Yeah, Hearthstone's a cruel game.
Yeah. Well, just card games.
Yeah. It's a fun game, though. I feel like if it wasn't cruel, I wouldn't want to play.
Yeah, you'd go in a Warrior deck.
There's just a tiny bit of masochism and deep down an admirable soul.
Warrior card for sure.
I am the Cruel Taskmaster. Or am I the Acolyte that gets Cruel Taskmaster? Oh gosh, I definitely don't want to be that guy.
There's 2 kinds of people in this world.
Bring the pain.
That's incredible. His face when he did that.
Well, we're going to the grand tournament.
Yeah, too bad he didn't have the 1/1. Shut it down. Oh, man.
Now Santa Barbara, I mean, they are faced with the most apparent option oftentimes presented to players. Turn 7 and boom is green.
Yep, but then they have to make that trade into the Justicar Trueheart with their vote. That was
Despite looks a lot better here. I mean, for all the reasons that Frodan was mentioning earlier, too. You're setting up your Despite. Grim Patron's always a big threat at this point. You're now also starting to threaten a big Battle Rage turn happening. Like, everything kind of goes your way when you set up the Despite in this spot. Plus, now the Loatheb is threatening repetitive damage. And this is where it becomes very scary, basically no matter what deck you are. If you can't stop a 5/5, it just starts chunking away your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, very significantly because you also have Gromach as a finisher. And people kind of forget that Patron can burst. The deck can.
Yeah.
Not the Patron itself. Patron can't charge. But
Unless you charge it.
True that.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you still have a little bit of burst with that Grom.
Yeah.
Wow, Tyrion off the top,
Yeah,
though.
Tyrion ain't too bad here. Let me tell you what.
He finally was lacking some real quality minions, but you got it.
When they held on to the coin this entire time.
Yeah, if you play Tyrion here, though, then you have to use that charge of the True Silver. You don't have to, but you're very inclined to. And you can take out the Armor Smith with that.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, the Tyrion is contesting the Lotheb.
Yeah.
It certainly is threatening to just take over the game at some point. Like, your opponent can't just leave the shield around. So we've seen 2 Whirlwinds at this point. I think it's okay to play the Tyrion here and take out the Armor Smiths. You get 3 swings of the True Silver afterwards. You have the Hero Powers churning, and maybe you even have the Consecrates to shore it up afterwards. I feel like, what do they do if they don't Tyrion? And that's really part of what I'm looking at too. Like, you just like, what was a better draw?
Killing the Armor Smith might be a good thing too, considering that Divine Shield doesn't have an easy way to pop in his eyes. And if the Slam wasn't there, how would you actually deal with Divine Shield?
Yeah, it would just be. I mean, this would be terrifying.
Just hit it with your face. Straight with the Lotheb.
Yeah, man mode and then Battle Rage.
Even still, they
Pretty
actually
reckless.
cannot kill the Tyrion this turn. But Grim Patron shows up.
If they pick up an Inner Rage with a Slam, well, then they'd have to make the choice whether or not to Inner Rage the Tyrion to kill it off with just a weapon. Or
right, I thought it was gonna like maybe Battle Rage, but because you can hit with the Tyrion still, and then have Patron and then Battle Rage it. But I guess slamming is better for evaluating. Because then you can also play Belcher.
Hey, you can also play Dread Corsair.
Not bad.
It really isn't that bad. It's protecting the Grim Patrons just that much more.
I mean, you still Belcher here for sure, I think.
Yeah, I think so. You can just take it slow.
Because you want to be able to use Patron and Dread Corsair to draw a lot of cards. That's your refill. The biggest challenge about overcoming Patron is not necessarily just the first wave. It's the fact that they could reload very quickly and come in like an automatic gun. Just to really keep shooting you with threats, and then all of a sudden you can't stop its momentum.
UC Berkeley, not a fantastic draw for them at the moment.
Well, they still have True Silver Consecration, and that does leave this big question of if Tyrion dies, True Silver's charge actually gets left hanging, so maybe they just end up playing Pilot Shredder and Muster for battle instead.
Yeah.
But the problem with Muster is that there's a Whirlwind effect out, so maybe you just choose Silver. You Consecration? This sucks. Can I be the warrior player?
Finally, you admit there's a turn that's bad. I've been waiting all day for Frodo to go, wow, there's just really not a good option.
Yeah. You just play this and you play Pilot Shredder, but wow, that feels bad.
Protecting the Tyrion still has some value. It will pull 6 extra damage, so you make up for the second charge of this. You do gain 2 life from this, so you pad the hit a little bit. I think your hand might be good enough, and maybe it looks like they're playing a slower version of Paladin. Maybe their draws are just good enough to fight through this kind of position.
Or so they think.
Well, this turn, look at this power play from UCSB. They can kill the Tyrion, play Grim Patron, Dread Corsair, and draw cards with Battle Rage. So,
a hefty,
pretty big deal. And like Admiral mentioned, protecting the patrons with that Dread Corsair, it's so useful in the situation.
It's good. They are missing some things like an Inner Rage, but they've already used both Whirlwinds. That's a really quality draw right now.
Second Grim Patron is... I mean, this just buys you so much insurance, especially when they draw the Death Spite from this as well.
I mean, you just have enough damage right now to just swing at their face.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big threat here, is that they can just start punishing Berkeley for not having a realistic hand that can combat this. Because again, what are you gonna consecrate this? I mean, I guess you do, so you can True Silver the fresh Grim Patron, leave a 3/1 there.
The fresh one. Fresh off the patron line.
Wow, lay on hands. Does lay on hands make you feel like you can take your time?
When I look at Grim Patrons, I always get terrified.
He's used both Whirlwinds though.
Yeah, but even still, you can't hero power while those are on board. So I think doing this, taking out the 3/3, and then using using your minions afterwards to start threatening that, I feel like this is just a better spot to be in. I mean, they kind of minimize their damage impact here. And now they start turning the 1/1s. I mean, this is how we saw the last series turn around, was stabilizing the board position, and then the hero power took over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one more Death Spite, and that Shredder draw is not bad either, so... maybe develop Dr. Boom this turn, though, because you're really close to killing him.
I just like the Dr. Boom. And just hit him in the face.
You can use the boom to finish, too, though. I actually like setting up the Death Spite. I think it's superior right now because you have the second Grim Patron.
Yeah, the second Grim Patron... It's like, if you didn't have Shredder, I think Dr. Boom would have been a little bit better.
Yeah,
maybe a lot better.
Don't have another creature to develop.
I think the Shredder really makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wow, it's Slugfest. Man.
Cal's on the ropes here.
He's got lay on hands to come back, though, here. And that's pretty important, considering that you need to just avoid dying. And with this, even if you lay on hands, you're still worried about Grommash killing you for 14 damage plus the Shredder, so that's 18, and you're going up to 17.
Yeah, I guess you're taking the damage from the Shredder no matter what.
But
if
there's
you trade in.
Probably not a better time to play lay on hands. Take the Shredder damage.
Oh, I think you have to. I mean,
you're taking it anyway.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good drop. Very good drop.
Definitely is. They still aren't out of range of Grom at this point. I mean, at this point, they don't really have a way to play around Grom, so...
Well, they do.
I mean, at this point, you could. I mean, you could Shredder Coghammer here. You got to override your Ashbringer.
Right, and then they might have Execute anyways, actually. Yeah. Actually, there's a very high chance they have Execute.
Pretty decent chance they have Grom, too.
Oh, man.
They're going to take the safe route. I don't blame him for this, but goodness does this feel... It's not so bad, though. You are turning up 2/1/1, so you can make up the lost effort from that Ashbringer. It's not the end of the world, but it's not the position you want to be in.
Those suckers are just going to die to the Death Spite.
Well, it's not about the...
Boombot lethal.
Oh, yeah.
The Boombot's actually...
Yeah.
Admirable spotted it first.
Oh, yeah.
I did it! I thought about the random outcome.
Well, there's... So, the 1/1s would be killed off, before the Boombot's damage is registered. So, there'd be 2 total targets for the Boombots to hit. And they would have to hit face for an average of 2.5.
Yeah, they average 5 damage.
So, that's 50. It would be, 50-50 for each one to hit face. And then, basically, if they both hit face...
a chance to win.
Yeah. Was it like 15%?
It's if that high. I mean, it's probably safer just to probably try to set up something with Acolytes and continue generating advantage.
Yeah, there to go for this play.
It's just safer, I think. You can also execute the Pilot Shredder afterwards, should you deem that necessary.
And then Explosive Sheep. Suddenly, Explosive Sheep. Oh?
Well, that's a pretty darn good one.
And how do you deal with this board?
That's 2 fresh Grim Patrons, and they do not have a way to check them. Well, Iron Beak Owl is a way to check it. But again, they're at 5. It's not really so much can you fight the Grim Patrons, it's just can you fight 5 minions.
You can lay on hands and
die.
and that's it.
Well, and silence something.
Alright, you can lay on hands and kill the... Well, if you kill the low health patron, you get rid of the propagation.
Equality. Drop an Unstable Ghoul.
Die. Oh yeah, Unstable Ghoul, yeah.
That's only
equality,
if you get the equality,
Unstable Ghoul.
though, yeah.
That's half of what you're wishing for after your quality on your Shredder.
Let me
well,
think.
Looks like it's probably the end here for Cal. I mean, the Patron Warrior did such a good job pressuring the Paladin. The Paladin took too long.
Quickly.
I really wonder if maybe the difference would have been made if they lay on hands.
I wonder if that could ever change anything. I mean, I can't even think of a draw really where it does. Elder Peacekeeper, I guess.
Follow the rules.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Santa Barbara doesn't have the damage to end it right now. Oh, is that enough? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points of damage.
Not quite. No Boombot lethal here.
You could draw it with Inner Rage on your Cold Taskmaster.
You could still enrage a Boombot and hit it for 4 on face. That's still a possibility.
I mean, would be enough.
problem right here.
Oh, Nelly! But now they don't. That's just enough, right?
Yeah,
With the Fire
right
War
here.
Axe, yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. In fact,
It's enough on board.
They have enough to clone a patron and still have lethal.
Which they definitely should have done. Either way, they're going to tie this series at 1 game apiece. Santa Barbara, they got to be happy to take that win. I mean, losing to Paladin with Grim Patron is that's a terrifying feeling because that's one of the matchups that Patron thrives in.
Right.
Is that one?
It's in fact the biggest reason why Patron is relevant in the metagame. Sure, it does decent against Druid, very strong against it. Maybe it has its moments against Hunter and Aggro. The big reason why